say catastrophic. Like, it one word, I mean, catastrophic.
Everybody can relate to a hurting heart. It's okay for them, for a window of time, to weep, to mourn, to say, my heart is broken.
Prayer, when I was standing on my porch, both my parents are deceased, and I said, Mom, Dad, God, help.
And we want to welcome you to this special edition of KPRC 2 News Today in Kerrville this morning. 1 week after those devastating floods ripped through this area, we know that more than 120 people have been lost. At least 160 people are still missing this morning. And now that the light is starting to come up, you are able to see the magnitude of this devastation here along the Guadalupe River. These trees, these massive trees you can see were just snapped and mangled in half. The water so far high above our heads, you could see where the water just rushed them and bent them in half. And when I was coming here, looking at pictures, looking at videos, I realized when I got here last night and saw all of this, it does not do it justice. Those pictures, those videos do not do it justice, because when you walk here, you realize just how powerful Mother Nature is and just how small we are and how powerless we can be in the path of such destruction. Owen and Justin will be coming on to the show in just a little bit, but first I want to give you the latest on what we're covering out here in Hill Country. Texans helping Texans. We're going to hear from a group of volunteers from Rockport who traveled more than 200 miles to pay it forward after they were affected by Hurricane Harvey, why they wanted to give back. And rescuing animals. What's being done to help people reunite with their pets that were lost amid the devastating floodwaters in Hill Country. And a source of comfort. The Mission, one nonprofit, is on to help connect families with toys and their stuffed animals that were swept away by the water. We will be following these stories and much more, but one of the biggest stories today is the presidential visit just hours away here in Texas Hill Country. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania are expected to visit closer to about 11 noon time today, making it their first stop here since the devastation hit Kerr County and surrounding areas 1 week ago today, killing more than 100 people. Their visit comes as families continue to grieve, to search, to demand answers. KPRC 2's Rochelle Turner is joining us live. She's been in Kerrville all week for us, covering this tragedy. She's letting us know more on the president's plans in town today. Rochelle, good morning.
Sophia, good morning to you. Since we've been here about 3 o'clock this morning, we have watched Kerrville officials prepare for Donald Trump's visit, President Donald Trump's visit, and the First Lady. Now, it is all taking place right here at the Hill Country Youth Event Center, and the parking lot is starting to clear some, and that's because they are getting ready to do a sweep, and everyone has to leave the property. Now, we know that officials already set up these barricades along Highway 27. This is something new, something that we haven't seen all week until we got here this morning. When we arrived, there was maybe about 20 law enforcement agencies from different areas, as well as DPS troopers. Now, we know that the president's schedule is tentative and it could change throughout the day, but this is what we know so far. The president is scheduled to be here around 12:20 this afternoon. He and the First Lady will begin with an aerial tour of the flood devastation aboard Marine One. Around 2:10, they will take part in a closed roundtable discussion with first responders and local leaders, including Governor Greg Abbott. The White House says the president will also meet with some of the families impacted by the tragedy. President Trump has expressed support for flood alarms in Texas and said everyone is doing a great job responding to the emergency that left more more than 100 people dead and 170 people missing. President Donald Trump has already declared a disaster declaration to provide federal assistance for Kerr County, and we know that he will be here meeting with families that are also impacted by the flood. We will stay on top of his visit, as well as any security details and any remarks that he plans to make. Reporting live in Kerrville, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC 2 News.
All right, Rochelle, thank you for the update on the president's plans this morning. Well, FEMA and the Small Business Administration, we know, are on the ground here in Kerrville offering disaster assistance to those who will need it. This will be held at the First Baptist Church. People and families can get financial support for things like medical and dental assistance, vehicle damage, or even housing. Now, for those that qualify, the Small Business Administration has low interest loans for homeowners up to $500,000 and up to $2 million for businesses. No payments or interest for the first year, with terms up to 30 years. Now, we've been watching also incredible efforts from animal welfare groups bringing their beloved pets, their pets that have been lost in all of this, reuniting them with their owners. Kerrville Pets Alive shared these images on Facebook and is reminding folks that their work is far from over. There are still so many pets missing and many that have been found, but they still haven't been claimed. They shared one sweet video of a Chihuahua who was reunited with her family. Take a look.
Is that your dad? Yay! Good job!
Oh, you could just see and feel the excitement there. Now, Austin Pets Alive is helping Kerrville in the search for pets and has generated this QR code here on your screen for that effort. So if you are missing a pet, you have found a pet, or need to report a pet left behind, just scan the QR code right on your screen. It will take you to KerrvillePetsAlive.com, where you can there fill out a form. Now, meanwhile, we know that many families have lost all of their belongings, if not everything, including some of their most meaningful possessions. And for kids, that often means a beloved stuffed animal or a doll. It's a source of comfort during any time of chaos. KPRC2 found that one nonprofit is now stepping in to help in this situation. KPRC2's Brittany Jeffers is joining us live in our newsroom with this mission on compassion for young Texans affected by all of this devastation. Brittany.
Yeah, and Sophia, we've learned this nonprofit works to find the child's exact replica of the stuffed animal or doll they may have lost in the flooding, or they try to make a new one that looks almost like it. Now, the owner of this nonprofit says the mission is much bigger than just replacing things. She says it's providing a sense of comfort and security, especially during these very challenging times. Now, KPRC2 spoke with the woman who's behind this mission. Her name is Ashley Reckenwald. She lives in New Jersey. She's a mother of 3. She says she started this initiative, which is called Land of Lovies, after the Los Angeles wildfires. But following the news of the devastating flooding in the Hill Country, Ashley said that she knew she had to step in and try to help out where she could. So again, the nonprofit's working to find the child's exact replica of a stuffed animal or a doll they may have lost. They try to replace it, or they find a craftsman who can create something similar. Ashley says it's important to replace these lost items because children have been through enough.
We don't want to waste any time between, or nights, night times that those children need to go without these items that they rely on to sleep and to feel better about their days, especially when they've lost so much.
And you may have seen some of the social media posts like this. They're hoping to return recovered stuffed animals and belongings to original owners. And thousands of people right now are on a Facebook page called Found on the Guadalupe River. They're posting items that were found after the flood. This includes clothing items, shoes, photos, even jewelry. Now, Ashley tells us that it takes about 5 to 7 days for those stuffed animals or loveys to get into the hands of a child. And for more information on this nonprofit, we have all of that linked on clicktohouston.com. Just go ahead and search for this report. Live in the newsroom, I'm Brittany Jeffers, KPRC 2 News.
Yes, every little bit helps for sure. All right, Brittany, thank you for that. Now, throughout the week, there's just been a solid theme of Texans helping out Texans, and people from all across the state, from all across the country have made their way here to Hill Country to give back. And that includes a group from Rockport who traveled more than 200 miles to pay it forward.
Well, man, about 8 years ago, Hurricane Harvey came through Rockport. Complete devastation just like this. And so many people from the Hill Country all over, man, just came down to South Texas to help us out. And honestly, we came here just to return the favor.
Brandon and Tyler were in Hunt earlier this week with a group of friends serving food to first responders and community members. They weren't part of a disaster relief group, just individuals ready to step in and provide the help that they were so thankful to receive years ago. Well, this morning, first responders continue the grueling effort of finding missing loved ones, finding nearly 160 missing loved ones still out there. And now we are getting a firsthand look at all of the damage, the ravaged areas along the Guadalupe River. Our sister station, KSAT 12's Devin Karp, is now joining us live in Ingram with more on this. Devin, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Sofia. The sun is starting to rise here, and if you look behind me, you can see a steady line of cars starting to head towards Hunt. But not just anyone can make it through. As you can see on the sign behind me, there are authorized first responders and people who have been affected by the floods only. That way they can focus on the important work they need to do. But yesterday, I was able to get an escort from a firefighter through some of the worst parts of damage along the river to see what it's like for these first responders firsthand on the ground floor. A lot of what I saw was a lot of things still in trees, heavy vegetation, tree limbs, tree trunks themselves, trash like boats, canoes, even pieces of houses are still mucking up some of the area as crews work to excavate it with heavy machinery. All while there are other crews still performing search and rescue tasks, about 300 of them every day going through the area. It's grueling, brutal work in the hot sun, working through the vegetation, getting wet, trying to even make their way around wildlife. I heard snakes have been a big problem in the area. When I ask first responders what keeps them coming back, they say they simply feel called to do the right thing.
None of us have ever been in an operation like this. We train for emergency situations, but the magnitude of this river flooding and the flash flood that came through and the destruction it did, you can never train for something of that magnitude.
Also out there at some of the worst parts of this, I was able to speak with one woman who says that she actually owns an Airbnb in Hunt, Texas. Now, thankfully, that house was safe from the water, but ever since then, it's been sitting empty. So she was driving that way to make it open for first responders, families who lost their homes to the flood, anyone who needs it to have shelter over their heads and a place to stay, because she says it's what good neighbors do.
We're just not getting guests right now, and so we feel like to give back to the community, we'd like to help take care of people that way where we can give them a safe place with some AC and some water and some normalcy.
Now, first responders say now they're going to start cycling through the area after almost a full week here of doing a lot of this work, making sure that there are still more crews coming in. When I asked about a timeline of how long they expect to be out there, they simply said indefinitely. They told me they made some great progress so far, but there is still a lot more work to do, a lot more closure to bring to some of these families. They did mention, though, their excitement for today with the arrival of President Trump's visit. They say they want the president to see firsthand some of the damage and devastation, what the community is going through, so they can continue to shine a light on the important issues here while making sure that they're still receiving federal support as families search for closure and rebuilding begins. For now, I'll go ahead and I'll send it back to you guys here. Over here in Ingram Live, Devin Karp, KPRC Channel 2 News.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. Yeah, and we will have more coming to you live in Kerrville this morning. We're going to toss things back to Owen in the studio. Owen?
All right, Sophia, thanks to you and all the crews in the Texas Hill Country this morning. Ahead in national